Hi, and welcome to City Happenings. I'm Mayor David Black. We recently completed the city's budget. In the current economic climate, this was a challenging process. We'll fill you in on what went on. And the city works hard to build and maintain relationships with other governmental entities. Sarpy County and Papillion recently partnered together to provide you a good service. We'll tell you more about it. Our building department is where people go to get permits to remodel, update, and build. If you think that you'll have a long wait to get those permits, think again. Our chief building inspector explains our turnaround process. Now here's City Happenings for the week of August 23rd.
Thanks, Mayor Black. We all know that crafting a budget isn't easy. In today's economic climate, it's really a challenge. The city recently worked on its upcoming budget.
It actually started a year ago. The council and myself, we went away for a day-long planning retreat. What are our goals? What do we want the city to be long-term? Start getting that long-term view and started to develop some common goals and themes of what we wanted. We took that information then and then we turned it over to the department heads. And historically, department heads would send up their budget requests to the mayor and the administrator mayor and administrator would work the budget. Well, what we did this year is we said, department heads, send your requests up. But when you send those requests up, you department heads as a team are going to come together and bring forth a balanced budget and there were only a couple of constraints. Don't raise the tax levy, bring a balanced budget, and attempt to have a 2-year mindset. So to start that longer theme with the department heads as well. And that was new. The department heads had never been involved in budgeting across departments, across functions. So they came together and they spent a lot of time understanding each other's departments, understanding each other's desires and needs. And together, they did a lot of give and take. One department may have said, I need $1 million for my special project. Well, now that they had to work together as a team, they had to balance that with the other department's needs and requests. So they had to either find revenue sources without raising taxes, they had to reduce some spending without giving up quality of services, and it was a challenge for them, and they did a pretty good job. They brought a 1-year budget that was almost balanced, which I was pleased with. So then at that point in time, myself, the city administrator, assistant administrator, and the finance director then fine-tuned it to the point where it was a balanced budget without reducing the quality of services and without raising the tax levy. Again, those were the original constraints and we stayed within those. And the budget that ended up then being presented to council, and we just had a public hearing on it, it'll be voted on September 7th, does just that. The total budget is about just shy of $41 million, about $40,700. That's down about 26% from last year.
Papillion recently teamed with Sarpy County in bringing a service to city residents. We need your cooperation in order to keep these services alive.
Our spring cleanup was a huge success. We had record numbers of items turned in, the trash, the TVs, the computers, lumber and that. We did run into a problem when Sarpy County brings their tub grinder in every season and grinds our tree pile. Basically, we're keeping waste out of the landfill, so they come in and do that. Then we provide that mulch free to any citizens or the public that wants it. This year when we were grinding it, we had a major breakdown. We found that someone threw about a 3-foot transmission shaft, motor shaft into the wood pile, and that caused a 2-week delay in repairs that are just can be prevented if people would just follow the rules down there. We make this free to the public, and we have a recycling bin and we just ask the public to please not throw any metals in with the discarded lumber, because it causes headaches and it causes undue expenses that and if this continues, we may just have to look at not having this free service or somewhat trying to charge to recoup for costly things that are preventable.
Homeowners, contractors, and business owners need to obtain permits from our building department from time to time. The process is not as lengthy as you might think.
Husband and wife are sitting around Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening at dinner and say, hey, we want to build a new deck, let's build a shed this weekend. Well, the last thing they think of is, hey, let's go down and get a permit. Most of them finally realize Friday afternoon when they go down to the lumber yard and buy their lumber, hey, you guys might want to get a permit. And they have this myth that, oh gosh, that's going to take weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, here in Papillion, we kind of pride ourselves on that type of a permit, a deck, a shed, patio, re-roofs, those type of things. We do those right over the counter. You know, there are some times when we don't have all the staff here to do that, but the majority of the time you can come in and get that right over the counter. Same thing with a basement finish permit. If you're doing any plumbing, mechanical, electrical, you get all that right over the counter. If you're doing a larger project, maybe like a basement finish, building a new home, those we have. A new home is like a 5-day turnaround, which is pretty quick for this area of the country. I mean, we've heard stories where people have waited for 30, 40, 45 days to get a new home permit, and you can imagine a home builder, he sells a house in March, and now he has to wait 45 days before he can even begin construction, and now you're talking he's going to run into the winter months because of his time frame on his construction. Where if we can turn that around in 5 days for him, he's able to get started right away. The advantage we have is that we have a very knowledgeable staff, certified staff that can look at a plan quickly and review it and go through it. And then we also know that again, it's just a blueprint and things change. A homeowner's going to maybe change the location of some outlets. They might decide to add some lights that they didn't want, and that's ultimately when it falls back on the inspector. So if we happen to oversee something or the homeowner wants to change something in the process, the big key is we've gotten the permit, they've gone through the paperwork, we're aware of it, and now we'll worry about it with the inspector on site if we need to. And to talk about that a little bit on the inspector side, that's another thing is homeowners kind of are worried about having to take a day off of work in order to be home for the inspector, or schedule it and having to wait a week to hold up their project. We offer next day inspections. So if you call us by the end of the business day today, we'd be out there tomorrow. You can do timed inspections if you're a homeowner. So if you got to come home over your lunch break, you know, at a 10 to 2, we can come home with that. If it needs to be a 1:30, 2 o'clock, you know, we don't do timed on all of them. We always give priority to footings and sewers and things like that are open with the weather. But if we can accommodate you for that day, we will.
The Papillion Market Fair is still open. It's held every Wednesday from 5 to 8 p.m. in City Park, rain or shine. Take the time and check it out. We also want to remind you that Papio Bay late summer hours are in effect through Labor Day. The Aquatic Center is open on weekends only from noon to 8 p.m. Labor Day is the last day of the pool season. For more about Papillion, go to www.papillion.org or just call the Mayor's Hotline at 827-1111. Thanks for watching.